Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Giridhari, Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I'm sharing the screen for
Yeah,
the
you share the
Prabhu.
screen and you can read the Lilamrita, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, I'll do. So reading from Prabhupada Lilamrita, it is chapter 31, a threat against ISKCON. During the reading, Kirtanananda Swami, Kartikeya Swami cooked a feast in the kitchen. At midnight, the devotees served Srila Prabhupada the Janmashtami feast. Taking only a few bites, he watched his disciples eat heartily. The next day, Bash Puja, Prabhupada's 74th birthday, and he went to the Tokyo ISKCON temple. The temple was only two rooms, one for living and one for worshipping, with Japanese grass mats on the floor. Prabhupada sat to the right of the altar, looking at Lord Jagannath, while his disciples sat on the floor before him, singing Astaka prayers, glorifying the spiritual master. None of them, however, knew exactly how to conduct the Bash Puja ceremony, and after a while, they ended the kirtan. In the painfully awkward moments that followed, the devotees realized that they were supposed to do something special. But what? Prabhupada appeared angry. Don't you know Pushpa Isn't Prasadam ready? The devotees looked at one another. This is not Bash Puja, Prabhupada said. You have not been to Bash Puja before? Don't you know how to celebrate the Bash Puja? How to honor the spiritual master? One of the sannyasis began to cry, Tamal Krishna. Prabhupada said, don't you see how I observed my Guru Maharaj's birthday? Where is Pushpa? Pushpa is the Sanskrit for flowers. Pushpa, Tamal Krishna decided, Tamal Krishna decided Prabhupada must mean Pushpan, a fancy rice dish. I'm not sure, he said. What kind of Bash Puja is this with no Pushpa? Prabhupada asked. We can get some, Prabhupada Tamal Krishna offered. Tamal Krishna grabbed Sudama. Prabhupada wants prasadam. He wants Pushpanno rice. They ran into the kitchen and hurriedly started their rice. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, I'm stopping here.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna once again. Welcome to the another session of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are reading from Canto 5, the Creative Impetus, chapter number 10, Maharaja Raghuguna meets Jadaparda, text number 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिरौपति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रे वासुदेव पराभेद वासुदेव परामग वासुदेव परा योग वासुदेव परा क्रिया वासुदेव परा ज्ञानम वासुदेव परा तप वासुदेव परा धर्मो वासुदेव परा गति. Canto 5, chapter 10, text number 6. अहो कष्टं भ्रातर्व्यक्तम् उरु उरु परिश्रान्तो दीर्घम् अध्वानम् एक एव उहीवान् सुचिरं नादिपिवा न संहाननानङ्गो जरसा चोपद्रुधो भवान् सखेन इवापरे येते सङ्गठिना इति बहु विप्रलब्धो अविद्यया रचितद्रव्यगुण कर्माशया स्वचरम कलेवरे वस्तुनि संस्थानविशेषे अहं ममेति अनाद्यारोपितो मिथ्यप्रत्ययो ब्रह्मभूतात् तुष्णिं शिबीकं पूर्ववद्वाः. It's a long verse. So anybody wants to try?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am trying.
Yeah, please carry on.
Aho kashtam bhrataro vyaktam uru purishanto dhikam adhvanam eko eva uhivan suchiram nati piva na sanghanango jarasa chopodruto bhagavan sakheno eva paro ete sangattin iti bahu biplabuptopi avidyaya rachita drabya guna karmasaya sacharam kalevare অবস্থানি সংস্থান বিশেষে মমেত্য অনধ্যারোপিত মিথ্যা প্রত্যয় ব্রহ্মভূত তুষ্ণীম শিবিকাম পূর্ববত বাহ. হরে কৃষ্ণ.
Thank you, bro. Anyone else?
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. May I
Please
try?
carry on. Yeah.
अहो कष्टं भ्रातर व्यक्तमुरु परिश्रान्त दीर्घम् अध्यानमेक एव उहिवान् शुचिरं नाति पीबा न संहननाङ्ग जरसा चोपद्रुत भवान् सखेन एव परयते सङ्घट्टिन इति बहु विप्रलब्धोऽपि अविद्यया रचित द्रव्यगुणकर्माशय स्वचरं कलेवरे अवस्तूनि संस्थान विशेषे अहम ममेत्य अनध्यारोपित मिथ्या प्रत्यय ब्रह्मभूत तुष्णीं शिविकां पूर्ववतु बाह. हरे
Thank you,
कृष्ण.
Mother. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can we go to the synonyms? Okay. Prabhu, can you read the synonym, please?
Yes, Prabhu. I'm just.
Yeah.
Oho, alas, custom, how troublesome it is. Bhrato, my dear brother. Bhaktam, clearly. Uru, very much. Porishranto, fatigued. Dirgham, a long. Adhavan, adhanam, hot. Eko, alone. Evo, certainly. Uhivan, you have carried. Suchiram, for a long time. No, not. Oti piva, very strong and stout. No, not. Samham ango, having firm, tolerant body. Jarasha, by old age. Cho, also. Upadrutaha, disturbed. Bhavan, yourself. Shakhe, my friend. No eva, not certainly. Opore, the other. Ete, all these. Sanghatin, co-workers. Iti, thus. Bohu, very much. Vipralabdha, sarcastically criticized. Opi, although. Avidya, by nescience. Rochita, manufactured. Trappa, guna, karma, ashaya, in a combination of material elements, material qualities, and the result of past activities and desires. Charamo Kolevari, in the body which is moved by the subtle element, mind, intelligence, and ego. Obostuni, in such physical things. Samsthanam Visheshe, having particular disposition. Aham Mama, I and mine. Iti, in this way. anadharopito, not interposed, mithya, false, pratyaya, belief, brahmabhuto, who was self-realized, standing on the Brahman platform, tushnim, being silent, shibikam, the palanquin, purvavat, as before, ubaho, carried. Translation.
Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to try translation and purport, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll do the translation. Translation
Please.
of Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
King Grahugana told Jat Bharat, "How troublesome this is, my dear brother. You certainly appear very fatigued because you have carried this palanquin along without assistance for a long time and for a long distance. Besides that, due to your old age, you have become greatly troubled. My dear friend, I see that you are not very firm, nor very strong and stout. Aren't your fellow carriers cooperating with you?"
Please continue, Prabhuji. This is part of the.
Yeah, part of it.
No, it's not purport really, Prabhuji. It is translation. By mistake, it is in the online. It is like that. So the bold section, please continue. No, Nandoji, please continue.
Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this way, King criticized Jat Bharat with sarcastic words. Yet, despite being criticized in this way, Jat Bharat had no bodily conception of the situation. He knew that he was not the body, for he had attained his spiritual identity. He was neither fat, lean, nor thin, nor had he anything to do with the lump of matter, a combination of the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. He had nothing to do with the material body and his 2 hands and legs. In other words, he had completely realized his spiritual identity, Aham Brahmasmi. He was therefore unaffected by the sarcastic criticism from the king. Without saying anything, he continued carrying the palanquin as before. Jat Bharat was completely liberated. He did not even care when the decoys attempted to kill his body. He knew that he certainly was not the body. Even if the body were killed, he would not have cared, for he was thoroughly convinced of the proposition found in Bhagavad Gita 2:20, Na hante hanimante sarire. He knew that he could not be killed even if his body was killed, even if his body were killed. Although he did not protest, the Supreme Person of Godhead in his great agent could not tolerate the injustice of the decoys. Therefore, he was saved by the mercy of Krishna, and the decoys were killed. In this case, while carrying the palanquin, he also knew that he was not the body. This body was very strong and stout in sound condition and quite competent to carry the palanquin. Due to his being freed from the body conception, the sarcastic words of the king did not at all affect him. The body is created according to one's karma, and material nature supplies the ingredients for the development of a certain type of body. The soul the body covers is different from the body construction. Therefore, anything favorable or mischievous done to the body does not affect the spirit soul. The Vedic injection is Sango He Anyam Purusha. The spirit soul is always unaffected by the material arrangement. Thank you, Prabhu. Krishna Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. Oh, what a great soul, Jada Bharat. Hare Krishna. Once again, we read the verse. Aho kashtam bhratarvyaktam uru pravishanto dirgham advanam eka evai uhivan suchiram nadi vivanam samhanananango jarasa chobirdo bhavan sakena ivapare yete sankatina iti bahu vipralabdho api avidyaya rajitat द्रव्य गुण कर्माशया स्वचरमा कलेवरे वस्तूनि संस्थान विशेषे अहम ममेति अनाद्याराभितो मिथ्या प्रत्ययो ब्रह्मभूता तुष्णीं शिबीगं पूर्वतुवाः ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य जनाशलाघ्य चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपागतामह्यं ददाति स्वापदं वन्देहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सात्वतं परिजानसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सगनललितां श्रीविशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा नमोस्तुते Taptakanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanja Kalpatarobhya Chakrapa Sindhubhya Vaja Padidhanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Veda Vyasa Priya Swamini Dinamini Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vachate Desadarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा. Thank you once again for giving me an opportunity to share my few realization. Today we are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 10, text number 6. Maharaj Raghuguna meets Jada Bharat. This chapter deals with the meeting of King Raghuguna with Jada Bharat. It was very interesting to note that the great king Bharat Maharaj was once the most exalted son of Rishabhadev, has become in his subsequent life as a palanquin carrier. What a wonderful transformation. His body undergone a lot of changes. Or in other words, he accepted many bodies. Dehinosmin, yada dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara, tada dehandra prapti dhiras tatrana mushyati. The embodied soul continuously passes from boyhood, youth, and old age. Similarly, the soul passes from one body to another, but a sober person is not bewildered by such change. But he is the same. Here, Vyasadeva used the word Jada Bharat to address Bharat Maharaj as Jada Bharat in this birth. Whereas the scripture does not specify the name of the Bharat Maharaj when he was born in the family of a Brahmana, because he is inert and act like a foolish person. That's why Vyasadeva called him as Jada Bharat. For a people in general, including the king, understood him as a stupid person, and whereas no one can even understand the deep inner core of his heart. As Sukadeva Goswami says that Bharat Maharaj appeared before the public eye as a madman, dull, blind, and deaf. He has no connection with the material world. That's why it's called Jada. Jada means it has no connection. Jada means it's almost deadly, dead. Sometimes it is said that it's better to be silent, spectator, rather than to show our ignorance by wide opening our mouth. Sometimes it says that because instead of opening our mouth, it's better to keep quiet, silent in some circumstances. Of course, the silence of Jada Bharat was on a different platform. He was in a Brahma Buddha stage. He is full of compassion and humility, etc. Jada Bharat was subsequently born in the family of a great Rishi, Angiras. Angiras, we all know that is one of the 7 rishis born out of the mind of Lord Brahma. All of them are very great scholars and philosophers. Bharat Maharaj first born as the son of Lord Rishabhadev and subsequently born as a deer, and then subsequently he was born in the great Brahmana family. At that time he was blessed with the memory of his previous lives. This is called Jadi Smara. In Sanskrit, it's called Jadi Smara. One who remembers his previous birth is called Jadi Smara. A person who is able to remember his previous life by the mercy of Supreme Lord. He remembered as the son of Rishabhadev and became a deer, then again as the son of a Brahmana. And that's why he is able to continue in the path of the self-realization. And this time he never wanted to deviate from his path. Once bitten, twice shy. Thus, he was more determined to follow the path of self-realization. Vyavasayikatma buddhi, ekehi kuranandana. Bahusana sakaya manandasya buddhyo avyavasayinam. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord said that even if one commits a most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly. But as far as Bharat Maharaj is concerned, he has not considered he's not done any abominable mistake. But one thing, he has deviated from this path of spiritual activities, and he was more attached to deer. And Lord says that if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly. Abhichedasu duracharo vajadayamam ananyava. Sadhyeva chamandhyavyaho. And in the next verse, Lord says, he becomes quickly righteous and attains lasting peace and boldly declares that my devotee never perishes. Chipram bhavati dharmatma swacham jadeti gartati khanteya pradijanedi mama bhaktya na pranasyati. This is the real example of the Jada Bharat, these two verses. As a Brahmana, he was exhibiting all those characteristics despite being highly realized soul and a liberated being. He was apparently dull and detached from all worldly affairs. He was indifferent to pain, pleasure, and to mistreatment. Regarding the rebirth of Bharat Maharaj in the family of a Brahmana, we may connect this to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, where Lord says that the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment, is born into a family of righteous person. Prapya punyam kritam lokan utsevasya sasvadehi samaha suchinam srimadam gehe yoga brashto abhijayate. That person will take a birth in the family of transcendentalists, and such birth is very rare in this world. Kune bhavati dhimatham. On taking his birth, he will receive his divine consciousness. That's what happening in the case of Bharat Maharaj. He was born in the family of a Brahmana, and he started reviving his spiritual path. This is the real proof of Name Bhaktya Pranasati. God will never say that my devotee never perishes. Even though there is some ups and downs in his family, in his affairs, but he never perishes. Ananya chintayantoma yajana pariyopasate yesham nityabhyuktana yogakshemam mahamyam. The Lord carried whatever good qualities which Jada Bharat possessed earlier, eventually continued in the present birth also. So he was so fortunate to be born in the family of a Brahmana and continue the path of self-realization. And Brahma Samhita also says that I worship personality of Godhead who enters into every universe and every atom by one of his plenary portions and manifests his infinite energy throughout the material world. The super soul, which is sitting or all other bodies, is also sitting inside the body of Bharat Maharaj, Jada Bharat. Ekopyaso rajayitum jagadanta kodi echasiratya ajandi andandarastu paramanu jayandarastam govindamadi purusham tamakam bhaja. So the super soul which is sitting inside the Jada Bharat is helping him to come to the path of self-realization. The God is helping him. Ananya chintayantoma. He carries whatever the good qualities Jada Bharat had, and he maintained and eventually continued in the present in the present birth also, he continued the path of self-realization. It's very, Lord says, very rare to the human to come into such, after so many births, coming back again to the self-realization, continuing the path of self-realization, continuing the path of devotional service. In the purport, Prabhupada has mentioned that is a Vedic aphorism, is asangohi ayam purushaha. Means that a spirit soul has no connection with the material body and to other conditions or other material conditions. Asangoham punah punah sachidananda rupoham aham eva aham avyayaha. I am unattached again and again, and I am the nature of that existence and bliss, an unchanging one. Asangoham punah punah sachidananda rupoham. I am the Sachidananda Rupa. Aham evaham avyayaha. I am unattached again and again. I am nature of that existence, consciousness, and bliss, and unchanging.
Kaise hai? Surprise!
Very good. Though in this, we can see from the translation and purport, the King Raghuguna was sarcastically passing the comment on Jada Bharat. But still he remains to be not affected, and he did not retaliate. Here, one important aspect we have to observe that King, being a materialistic person, could see only Jada Bharat's physical body, and he could not recognize his spirit soul, which was an exalted position. The king is a conditioned to the material mode, and Jada Bharat is self-realized one. The king could not even tolerate a small material discomfort because the palanquin was carrying zigzag way. He could not tolerate that. On the other hand, Jada Bharat was more tolerant. The king, though the protector of the subjects, and could not even understand the activities of Jada Bharat. As a king, he is supposed to know the activities of all his subjects. But here, king could not understand the activities of Jada Bharat. And he's asking him why he's going zigzag fashion while carrying the palanquin. So this shows an exact difference between a transcendentalist and a materialist person. The ordinary materialist person cannot understand the activities of a pure devotee. And thus one may try to minimize his position, considering very lower as themselves. That's why he is passing a sarcastic comment on Jada Bharat. One can only develop equal vision by giving up jealousy, envy, and by recognizing the existence of soul within every material body. If you Suratam Sarva Bhutanam, one can only develop equal vision by giving up jealousy and envy. That too by recognizing the existence of soul within every material body. The fact Jada Bharat was given a body of Kshatriya, even though he was born in a Brahmana family. He was young, strong, and had firm limbs. As explained earlier verses, normally the body of a Brahmana are not normally as strong as a Kshatriya. And Vaisyas, as the characteristics of Brahmana itself, we say the Sama, Dhamma, Taba, Saucham, Shantir, Arjavam. Whereas the Kshatriya's character is Sauryam, Tejo, Dridhir, all heroism, power, determination, etc. And they require strong limbs and strong body. So we can call it Jada Bharata is a Brahmana in a Kshatriya body. Therefore, That was the reason the palanquin carriers of King Ravguna mistook him as a Kshatriya and engaged him for the carrying the palanquin. This is one of the reasons. He was a strong body, but he doesn't know that he has a self-realized soul. So Jadabharat this time appeared in a Kshatriya body. Brahmana appeared in a Kshatriya body. There is one more example we can give that a Brahmana appeared in a Kshatriya body from the scriptures. Can anybody throw some light on that? From the scriptures, a Brahmana appeared in a Kshatriya body, or more or less characteristic of a Kshatriya. Who was he?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Parasuram.
Yes, that's right. Lord Parasuram. Lord Parasuram appeared in a Kshatriya body, but he is son of Brahmana. A Brahmana son of Kshatriya features. He is the son of Jamadagni and Renuga. Of course, Lord Parasuram is the Saktavesh avatar of Supreme Lord. He had some purpose to appear in that body, to annihilate all the Kshatriyas, which they were against the Vedic injunctions. So, thank you, Mataji, for giving the answer. So, like that, Jadabharat also appeared in with features of Kshatriya as the son of a Brahmana. As we can say that every living entity is a son of God. Therefore, one should be very careful while dealing with most insignificant person or creature. So one who is perfectly situated in a spiritual realization cannot become a servant of the material body. So that's what we can see from the Jadabharat. I am not the servant of my material body or the rules and regulations concerning the material body. That's why he doesn't care about anything. So here we can see the similarity between both Lord Rishabhadev and Jadabharat. We have seen Lord Rishabhadev toward the end of his life, never cared about his body, material body. So also Jadabharat. He has all the qualities of Rishabhadev at the end of his life. Because he is in a Brahmabodha stage. So Bhagavad Gita explains that in 14th chapter, 26th verse. Mam chayo abhya vijarena. Mam chayo abhya vijarena.
Bhakti yogana sevate.
Evate. Saguna samadhiya devatam. Brahmabhuyaya kalpade. So one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature, and he comes to the level of Brahman. And further explains in the 18th chapter, 54th verse, Brahma Bodha Prasanatma, Asochati Nakangshati. Samaha Sarvabhuteshu Mad Bhaktin Labate Param. One who is thus transcendently situated realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments, he never desires anything. At that time, he enters into pure devotional service. So, this is happening in this case of Jadabharat. He is in the Brahmabodha stage. He never laments or desires anything. He doesn't care about the material body. He doesn't about the criticism of the king made, sarcastically made on him. He never bothered about that. He still carried this palanquin as though nothing has affected him. Therefore, this gives us a deep thought that never judge a person by his physical appearance. We should never judge a person by his physical appearance. It also reminds us a beautiful incident in Chaitanya Charitamrita in Madhya Leela, where Sanatana Goswami went to Banaras to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the house of Chandrasekhara. Sanatana Goswami was really in a bad shape because he was traveling by foot from Navadip Dham to Benares in search of Mahaprabhu. He knows that Mahaprabhu was stationed at Benares, so he immediately rushed to Benares from Navadip after escaping from the prison. After reaching Benares, Sanatana Goswami he knows that he was in the house of Chandrasekhara. He went to the Chandrasekhara. He never went inside, but he was waiting outside in a corner to meet Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu knows that Sanatana Goswami has come to see him outside. So he sent Chandrasekhara to look for a Vaishnava who has come from all the way from Navadvipa. So as per the instruction of Mahaprabhu, Chandrasekhara went outside the house and saw, and he was looking around and he could not see anyone of Vaishnava character. So then he came back into the house and told Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, there is no one outside, no Vaishnava outside. Mahaprabhu was laughing. No, you go again and see. There will be one person will be sitting outside. Then again Chandrasekhar came out of the house and saw one person is sitting outside. One person with all rags around him, okay, and dirty clothes around him. One was sitting aside. And again he came and asked Mahaprabhu, this is the person who was asking for. Yes, you bring him in. Mahaprabhu. So here Chandrasekhara was judging a person by his physical appearance. And Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, knows that he is Sanatana Goswami, such a self-realized person. So this is the incident from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we never judge a person by his physical appearance. It was also mentioned by Chandrasekhara that there is a Muslim mendicant is sitting outside. Is that person you are mentioning? Then Mahaprabhu immediately said, you bring him in. So this was the incident that happened in Chaitanya Charitamrita. No one knows the exalted possession of a spirit soul, because once you judge a person by physical appearance, we are at fault. Vidya vinaya sampanne, brahmani gavi hastani, sunicheva sopakecha, pandita samadarshinaha. Jadabharata is like a pandita. For him, the ant which is crawling on the ground, as well as the king sitting on the palanquin, are the same. Both have the spirit soul. He considers both are at the equal level because he is in the Brahmabodha stage. He cannot differentiate between the king and the ant. So he wants to protect the ant, and he doesn't know. So king is sitting comfortably in the palanquin. So he wants to protect the ant by not stepping on it. So that's why he is moving zigzag, which king could not understand it. The exalted position of Jadabharata. So this shows the materialist person's attitude and the spiritualized person's attitude. He is equal to all living entities, whereas materialistic person differentiates between the bodies and between bodies. So he is Brahmana, Vidyavanya Sampanne, Brahmana Gavi Hastani, Sunicheva Sopagata, Pandita Samadarshinaha. Yasmin Sarvani Bodhani, Maitatwala Bhujitnatha, Tatra Moho Koha Sokaha. This is from Ishopanishad. Egatvam Anupasyadaha. So he can, the one who is always seeing all living entities as spiritual spark. Qualitatively same with the Lord. And who knows that he is the true knower of things. And at that stage, there is no illusion, no anxiety for him. That is, Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani, Amaito Abhut Vijadaha, Tatra Go Moha Kahas Soga, Egatvam Anipachada, Moga Soga. The illusion or anxiety, we consider everything is the same. The Vyasadeva has clearly explained the difference between the materialist person and spiritually raised person in this purport and in the verse. And Prabhupada also explained that Asangohi Ayam Purushaha. I am not this body. I am not affected by the materialistic body. I am a spirit soul. And one can develop equal vision by giving up with jealousy and envy, and by recognizing the existence of soul within every material body. He was sarcastically passing criticism on Jada Bharat, but still he seems to be not affected and did not retaliate. He did not even retaliate to that. If any ordinary person would have been definitely retaliated, or the other way, the king would have punished him. So it shows that how the materialist person approaches, how the self-realized person approaches. Because here Jada wanted to save the life of an ant at the expenses of carrying the palanquin in a zigzag way. Asangoham puna puna sachidananda rupoham. Aham evaham avyayaha. I am unattached again and again. I am the nature of that existence consciousness and bliss, an unchanging one. There is no change in the spirit soul. He is the same Maharaj Bharat. He is the same Maharaj Bharat. He has appeared as a Jada Bharat. There is no change in the soul. The body is changed. Body is changed. But he continued his path of self-realization and devotional service. The soul carried the same thing. Ananya chintayantoma edanam pariyupasati. Tesam nityabhayuktanam yogachemam ahamiham. That is a true example how God helps him to carry out his path of self-realization. So whatever good qualities he had, Jada Bharat, carried in the same birth also. But he was a little bit inert and dull and deaf. And I think he was purposely doing that. Because he was born in the Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogo Brishto Abhijayade. He was born in the family of a Brahmana, most exalted Brahmana family. He had the fortunate enough to be born in that there. Even after being born there, he became very dull and he was unattached to anything. Even in spite of his brothers and his siblings sarcastically making comments on him, he never bothered about that. On top of it, he was able to remember his previous life. He's born as a deer, and before that he was the king Bharat Maharaj. All this he remembers. That also with the mercy of Supreme Lord. By the mercy of Supreme Lord, he remembered as the son of Rishabhadev and became a deer, and then again the son of Brahmana. And in this birth, he was very determined. He wants to go back home, back to God. He was very determined. Vyavasayagatma buddhi. Ekahi Kurunandana Bahusahaya Manandasya Buddhayo Avyavasayana. So, to conclude, it says that we should never judge a person by his physical appearance. And we should be very merciful to all living entities. as shown by Jada Bharat. Thank you very much. If you have any questions or comments or any additions, please, most welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Thank you
Pranam.
very much. Very nice class explaining the summary of this verse, and particularly the vision of a person who is self-realized, and he is never bothered about the material condition around him, and the accepted social values in which
Yeah.
people are very much considered in terms of the always just materially. And in Bhagavad Gita also you have mentioned, and also in in verse 6.8, the verse is like that: Jnana Vijnano Tritatma Kutosto Vijitendriyo Jukto iti Uchyote Yogi Shomolostro Kanchan. Prabhupada has made the translation is like that: a person is said to be established in self-realization is called yogi when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. So the word realization here is very important. A person is realized, and such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, and gold, the same. And just as you have told about the Vidya Vinay Shampone Brahmane 518 of Bhagavad Gita, where a realized person makes no distinction in the material body of the person. He knows, he looks everything in terms of the spirit soul, because he knows that spirit soul is now in a body of a brahmana, the spirit soul is in the body of a cow, the spirit soul is in the body of a dog, and in the body of a dog eater. But the spirit soul, depending on the condition of the body, they are acting accordingly. So
Yeah.
he is not much bothered about their external feature, but he is concerned about the soul, because he's always connected with here, because of his spiritual vision. He looks into that things, and he doesn't bother about the social circumstances. And that is what or here Jarabhat is acting here. He is not concerned about the king, because king is a very high position in the state. He has control over everything, and he is in a mode of passion generally. But Jarabharat is acting from the transcendental point of view, and that's why when he was told so many things, he did not pay heed to all these things at all, and he carried his palanquin as usual, as he was doing. Of course, subsequently he will speak, but
Yeah, yes, yes,
but it is
yes.
not mentioned. But
Yeah.
this is the condition of a realized soul. He is not bothered about the external situation, and he doesn't care. You have given, and it would be wrong on our part to judge a realized soul from the external views, as you have given the example of Sanatana Goswami
Yes.
when he arrived in Benares, and
Yeah.
Chandrasekhar Acharya failed to understand him. So we should be very careful. We should not judge any Vaishnava from the external viewpoint, and should hear from him, and only by hearing from him we can realize who is the great soul, and the difference between ordinary person and a great soul. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else? I think no one.
It appears, Prabhuji, there is no other person to make
Thank you,
comment.
Saru.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Okay, please.
Thank you, Saru. Thank you for a wonderful analysis of this verse. There's so
Thank you
many
very much.
quotations about the glories of the Vaishnava and how it's different from the normal person.
Yeah.
One of the things that really amazing is that Jad Bharat was able to remember his past life, and then he
Yes.
made this such a resolute determination not to go back to what he did in the previous life. So
Yeah.
very nice lesson to learn. There might be some deviation, but one should become very resolute to continue bhakti. This is one of the things that really Jad Bharat Maharaj really shows us how even if there's some deviation, we can still continue with determination. Thank you for this wonderful class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Panchakalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhyavacha Patidanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Anantakoti Vaishnavebhyo Ki Jai. All glories to assembled with his great
Vaikuntheswar Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.